Yeah, look at that. So we've been down to Abrero today to pick up Annie's bookbind project for her school. There we go. 800 peso. Nice hard cover. Nice gold writing. All of everything. Oh, look at that. It looks lovely, doesn't it? Oh.
Project proposal.
Project proposal. £10 to get it book bound.
Hardbound.
I've taken 3 or 4 days to turn around and think about this vlog, and should I post it? I don't know. Should I? I'm going to post it. Now, over the last 7 to 8 years I've lived here, I meet quite a few expats, and this week I met Dean. And Dean and Christine are moving up to Cavite in the next couple of weeks, because that's where Christine's university degree course is taking her. There's another guy called Scott, who's going to open a channel here, who moved here from Malaysia, but I won't spoil his channel, because he's going to talk about his channel. There's another guy I met this week called Mark, who comes from Atlanta in America. He's based here now in DAVAO. He was in Iloilo, but he didn't like Iloilo that much. I do like Iloilo, and I told him that. I met a couple of Filipinos, Ray and Claude. They live here. They're all retired, work for the government. But I was talking to Dean, and I was talking to Scott this week about some of the expats that came in, and a guy came over to the table, a guy called Michael, and he didn't turn around. He didn't. Can you hear that? Oh dear me. He came over and we were talking, and I've got quite a direct approach to life, mainly through my time working on ships and working in large companies, and turning around, and way that I've actually developed. I'm actually talking to Dean, and I'm talking to Scott, and they understand me. They understand my direct approach, and the reason I have a direct approach is because I find it really difficult when you're talking to somebody who supposedly comes from an educated background, who is very switched on, who is very intelligent, and they turn around and they don't understand the conversation you're having, or they misconstrue the conversation, or they misconstrue your viewpoint. So I just make it very clear. Just say it as it is. Don't waffle around and beat around the bush. I'm a 1950s baby, brought up in the 70s, where politically correctness didn't exist, or if it did exist, it was very nominal. And from there, the world has developed that now. And this gentleman was talking to me the other day, and he turned around and he said he didn't like my conversation because he thought I was too direct. And I turned around, I said, yeah, I fully understand that. I said, but don't converse with me then, converse with Dean, and I'll listen to the conversation. I won't interact with you, I won't communicate with you, because you find it too aggressive and too direct. But I understand that. But do you understand what I'm actually saying to you? And he turned and said, yeah. And I said, well, that's the point of my conversation with you. I'm not turning around and trying to become wishy-washy and you don't understand. And the conversation was based on dating in the Philippines. And what I was explaining was that you can't come to the Philippines and expect the Western culture of education, health, communication, to be at that same level, because I speak a totally different language to Annie. And when I first started going out with Annie, and she sat here, okay, she would get confused with my conversation. So over the 8 years, I've learned to become more direct and more focused to make sure that Annie understands what I'm explaining. And this guy was explaining that he goes out with Filipinas here in the Philippines, and they don't understand his conversation. Well, what I said was that's ignorance. Because that's ignorance, because you're trying to explain to a Filipina something that she doesn't understand. You may understand it, but what you need to understand is you need to evaluate, like you've done with me, saying I'm too direct, and you need to turn around and put it into a simplistic form. And he didn't like that, because his mentality, in my opinion, is that everybody has a master's degree. They have a higher level of education. Well, you might do in your social standing, the country you've come from or the city you've come from. However, in the Philippines, you need to be more realistic, and you need to understand that the people in this country are intelligent, they are smart, they understand, but they might not be able to communicate back to you because their English isn't as precise and well developed as somebody like myself or somebody that's been to university. And what I said, and this is what offended the guy, was, why don't you try talking to the Filipina in her local language? If you're that educated, talk to her in her language. And his reply was, well, I don't speak the language. And that was where my conversation with him ended, because you do get foreigners here that are looking for the ideal person in the ideal world, that is your ideal person that you've met on Netflix or you looked at Google, and you come to a third world country like the Philippines or Vietnam or Thailand, or that person you're talking to, you have to understand the level you can communicate at. Either speak the language, and Annie's English is very, very good, and she'll interject sometimes in my conversation, and she'll turn around and say da 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 da, and I go, oh, okay, yeah. When I turn around and try and speak back in the local dialect, Annie will turn around and correct me, because my pronunciation and my grammatic composition is not right. So hopefully you understand this vlog, but there are people that come here just for the women, but they expect their dark-haired, dark-eyed, merino-skinned, petite Filipinas to be a Harvard graduate or an MIT graduate, or they need to be communicating at this higher level and understand the conversation that the foreigner is actually talking about, whether it's stocks and shares and it's political review and it's about your personal opinion about the way the world is developing and cultural. You'll find that people in the Philippines are not interested in any of that. They're not interested in the cultural belief of your country. They like to go to America, they like to go to London, they like to go, but they're not interested in all the dynamics and the pictures. They would like a visa, they would like to just live life. And you need to understand that.
I don't like complicated things.
Yeah, and as Annie's just said there in the background, the Filipinos do not like complicated. And when you start a complicated conversation, make sure you speak the local dialect and the local language. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my coffee. You might have heard halfway through this letter, the girls over there are running a service industry, but they want you to come and collect. So it's a self-service coffee shop. Are they busy? No.
I prefer the coffee bean.
So Annie prefers coffee bean because the coffee's hot.
It's not really hot.
Yeah, look, she sat over there like that. She's more interested in her phone.
Yeah, than sending the coffee bean. We're not listening.
See? Get used to it. I have. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, guys. Take care and look after yourselves.